When we went to Israel, we were there for 4.5 years, and we left everything that was familiar behind. And as a family unit of 7, we became very close. The kids opened doors for us, and it was like the foreignness that we came with, they were able to tear down in moments just by being themselves. And they would walk up to strangers and begin conversations, and they picked up the language of Hebrew far quicker than we ever could. And the Lord used them so many times to connect us to people that we wouldn't otherwise be connected with. What we began to do was minister together as a family. And because there was kids and parents, Arabs and Jews, who were working together, doing outreach together, God was healing the rifts of that land through the family unit. And so when we came back to Canada after that, we looked for areas where we could serve together again. And within a half a year, Raph was asked to be pastor of family ministry, because that's just what we were naturally doing.
In Israel, almost everything we thought that we would be doing, we didn't do. Or once we started, it didn't work. And we really had to adjust our thinking and be led by the Lord, and just look for open doors that He Himself was opening. Jesus spoke that you must be as a child in order to enter the kingdom. And what I've realized is how there's this contrast of, say, calling, but also this need for humility. We have certain giftings, we have certain abilities that He's gifted us with and given us, but in the end, we need to depend on Him like a child.
It was a challenge for our kids to go to Hebrew school, learn Hebrew, adjust to a whole new neighborhood and new friends. And they had to go into bomb shelters on a regular basis. They knew what it was like for things to feel unsettled around them. And I know that some of that was traumatic, but we saw when we came back here, they could face difficulties a lot better. Also seeing that God is real, like He did real things for us, and that I know will affect them for eternity. Yeah.
Whoever humbles himself as a child, he is the greatest in the kingdom. Why do you think that's true?
I don't know.
There was a period of time in January 2019 when I was really sensing that God was stirring us up. And Sylvia and I began asking, seeking, and knocking, almost to the point where I'd say we were kind of getting a little frustrated and just left things alone for a while. And then one morning, I woke up early to work on some coursework, and I had the sense that I should start to pray. Felt strongly that God was giving me the impression about Japan. It wasn't somewhere I'd naturally thought of ever going. I always thought we'd go back to the Middle East and go back to Israel. That's what made sense. We can speak Hebrew, we read Hebrew, we know people, we were involved in ministry there. That's what makes sense. Now, any of my ideas, most of the time, Sylvia was never very excited about, but this was one that she was right off the bat. So that day I went to the church and speaking with the pastor there, and he said, you've told me a lot of different things lately, and I didn't want to discourage you, but this is something I can get excited about. Let's check it out. So we both went on to the NAB website, and priority, Japan. They were actually looking for a church planner. So we were very, very excited about that. In Japan, the population is around 126 million. Less than 1% of the population are Christians. The team that's in Japan currently has been there for 15 years. They planted a Komyo congregation in Osaka. They just recently have released the leadership completely over to the Japanese. So there's already a team we'll be serving alongside and looking at starting a new church work.
They said They had been praying for 10 years for God to raise up missionaries to go there. That was such a humbling and overwhelming thought that for 10 years people had been praying and God picked us to go. I believe that God has a time for Japan, and all the missionaries that have gone before, all the believers that have shared the Word of God, all the seeds that have been sown into that soil, they will bear fruit. And perhaps this is the harvest time.